How's it? Gavin Ace here from the old Paracal store. Today we're back on the 40 Buick. We're doing the sills, and I just thought I'd show you my process on how I did these sills. We're going to attack this mess. So there's not much of that sill left, and there's not much of this bit left, or this bit. So we're going to cut that out, I think, and we're going to try and recreate this floor and mount and see what we've got left of it, which is not a lot, I don't think. So I made a new subframe, welded it in. Now I think I'll attack this panel. And hopefully we can join all this stuff and do it. So now we need to make one of these. It goes in here, and it's the underlay it goes under the floor. There's a double thickness. Right, so we've made up our steel mount. Made a little bolt holder out of a shock absorber. We're going to weld that in there, and we can cut our floor in on it. Right, so we've welded our mount hole into there, and we're going to spot weld it to the chassis rail, and then we can build our floor. Right, so we fixed our brace, then we made our thickening in here with our bolt holder, and then we've made our panel, well here welded it into the floor, put a little swage in where it steps over the thickening on the brace. That's given us our floor like this. We'll probably cut this out later. At least this bottom panel, maybe a bit more of this floor. But we'll see what happens when we rebuild this sill. So we're going to now make this piece here that will join onto that, and keep all our door gap good before we replace the sill. So hopefully the door still does that. So we'll make that, it's fairly much to the right shape. This out and work out whether we're going to do this whole sill right the way through or just come to this door pillar, which is probably just about not attached anyway. So now we're going to cut this whole sill plate out right the way along here. That's another bit of steel that goes over the top. So we'll cut that out and see how we're getting on. We made a pattern up for our front sill, and now we're going to cut this old one out tidy these floor pans up and then replace it with our new sill. Right. We cut the real rusty bits out, and we're going to, we've cleaned up the mounts, and we're going to put our piece of steel in here to strengthen it. And that's on one straight plane, and then we're going to fill in this piece, and that will give us all our floor straight and mounted, and then we'll replace our sill. Right, so we have made the floor, patched there, fixed up our mounting point. We added a bit of steel into the floor there, and we've added another piece right along and tied the front pillar in. So we're going to have to revisit some of this floor later on, but for now we're going to get the sill put on when the steel gets here tomorrow, hopefully. So this is all strong as now. We're going to tack our pillar and we can put that back piece of steel down it and fix it to the floor, and then we'll cut our sill in underneath it and then replace the bottom of the pillar, bottom of that pillar, and we can do the front of that pillar, and then we're going to have to take the front mudguards off and attack all that. But I like to keep the mudguards on and the doors and everything until we get all this stitched up and framed in properly, so everything still lines up. Otherwise you're in a big mess. Right, this is our old piece of steel that we cut off, so we've got to make something like this, and pretty hard to bend because it's curves around one way. And it's got that channel. So what I'm thinking is we bought some steel and we're going to sit that in and shape it to our floor. And then we're going to get another piece and we're going to form our outside edge, and that should give us almost like original shape. We'll tack it up, see what it looks like. Right, here's our sill. We've welded it up. It's got our little end, it's 2 bits. Way stronger than the panel steel one. We'll stick it on here. Dip it on here, and we should be all good. Right, so we welded the sill right along. Tack welded it onto the inner seam. We've got the pillar sitting here tacked. We've got to finish all the bottom of that. And we've welded it into the wheel arch. But we're going to replace the pillar. Hopefully it still shuts lovely. Nice gaps. our old rusty bits of steel line up, so we're just going to replace that with good stuff. So pretty happy with that. Still got a bit to do, but nearly got one side knocked out. We're halfway through building this new pillar. We've done the inside piece, we've done this channel. Now we're just got to build this back corner. And then we're on to this one. Right, so we're going to cut this piece here out. We have a bead rolled up, a piece to go in there. We'll cut the back out and then shape that up. We get that back in there to fit to that door. A bit of luck. Alright, so we tack that in and then we'll burn that on. So that's our pillar all welded in to our new sill. Strong as. Door still shuts good. So now we're going to replace the bottom of this pillar. Cut it up to where the rust's gone. We've done that bit to keep it sitting in there. So we've done this side to keep it strong already. So we'll probably do it in a couple of bits. Right, this is the sill's almost finished. We rebuilt this column. We've done this sill. We've still got to make a piece of steel that's as a bend to get stitched on along here, and it holds your carpet and the sill tray. But basically that's our sill. So we're going to have to revisit a little bit of this floor, but we're just going to cut out the bits that need it. So we're going to do the same we're going to do exactly the same as this to the other side, and then we can put our boot in that we made a while back. But we need to get those front mounting points on the floor in the right place, so then we can get our floor here sitting, our boot floor sitting on our rubber mounts in the correct position, and get that all lined up, and then we'll stitch the floor in, do the back window, and the back of this car will be looking pretty close. This is looking a lot better than it did. So this other side, we've got to redo all that process again. The floor's probably worse, but it's basically the same process. but the rest of the car is not too bad. So thanks for watching. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, costs you nothing, helps us out, helps the store out. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, mate.